Hi everyone, welcome back to TechCravers. Today we're jumping straight into a test I've been really curious about ever since the Switch 2 dropped. And that is, how does the battery hold up against its older siblings, the Switch OLED and the Switch Lite? To find out, I ran all three consoles side by side and under identical conditions. They were fully charged to 100%, set to maximum brightness, volume muted, and running the same sequence in Super Mario Odyssey. And this wasn't just an idle scene. I chose a moment where Mario is endlessly trying to push a giant stone block forward. He's working hard, trust me, for hours. Poor guy might need a chiropractor after this. I recorded a full session and condensed it into just a few minutes, because watching Mario sweat for hours is only fun once. As each system powers down, I'll jump in with a timestamp and some commentary. But first, before we get into battery deaths, let's talk about one of the biggest variables here, the screens. The Switch Lite has a 5.5-inch LCD screen, 720p resolution and a standard 60Hz refresh rate. The Switch OLED steps that up with a 7-inch OLED panel, still 720p, also at 60Hz, but with much deeper blacks and higher contrast, which can usually save battery life depending on the scene. And finally, the Switch 2, it features an 8-inch LCD with a resolution bumped up to 1080p and a 120Hz refresh rate, though many games, including Mario Odyssey, are still running at 60fps. Now, all of that extra screen real estate and high resolution looks great, don't get me wrong, but it also puts significantly more strain on the battery, especially at full brightness. Combine that with beefier internals and you get yourself a power-hungry little machine. With that context in mind, let's roll into the time-lapse. Alright, let's pause the time-lapse for a quick check-in. We're at 2 hours and 32 minutes in, and I figured, let's see how brave our little consoles are holding up. Okay, wow, here's where we're at. The Switch 2 is teetering on the edge at 1% battery. The Switch OLED is still sitting pretty at 52%, which is honestly kind of amazing. And the Switch Lite is holding steady at 20%. So yeah, this is giving us a very clear picture of what's coming, but I have to say I'm a bit surprised by the spread here. I expected the OLED to do well, but I didn't think the Switch 2 would fall this far behind, especially compared to the Lite. I mean, sure, the Switch 2 is a beast on paper, but wow, it's clearly burning through juice like nobody's business. Alright, let's get back to it and see who blinks first. Alright, just past the 2 hour and 45 minute mark and boom, the Switch 2 is the first to shut down. To be exact, it clocked in at 2 hours and 46 minutes. Not totally unexpected given that larger, brighter screen and beefier internals, but still it really burns through battery. This is the price of power, folks. Meanwhile, our boy Mario is still grinding away on the two other systems, he's not giving up, still locked in that eternal struggle with the stone block. And fast forward another 27 minutes and the Switch Lite finally taps out, landing at 3 hours and 13 minutes. That's actually kind of impressive for a system with such aging hardware. And now it's a one console show. The Switch OLED just keeps going and going, like it's training for a marathon. Mario's still sweating it out, but the OLED, it's cruising like it's barely breaking a sweat.
Much later.
And here we are, 5 hours and 27 minutes later, the Switch OLED finally calls it a day. That's over 2.5 hours longer than the Switch 2. Quick summary, the Switch 2 battery lasted for 2 hours and 46 minutes, the Switch Lite battery lasted for 3 hours and 13 minutes, and the Switch OLED lasted for 5 hours and 27 minutes. OLED tech combined with 720p resolution and efficient internals really makes a difference in power draw. If battery life is crucial to you, whether you're traveling, commuting, or just too lazy to get up and plug in, the Switch OLED is still the endurance champ. Thanks for watching this showdown, don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that bell for more deep dive tech tests. And seriously, give Mario a break.